Jeff Green. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back. Chinese weather
Weather
balloons.
balloons.
Chinese weather balloons. Uh, but we're back. We were talking about Dylan Brooks. Thanks for tuning in. Basically, Dylan Brooks was talking with Coach K. Back when he was in college, he was still trying to be. He was trying to be Draymond Green, admittingly in college. And when Oregon knocked Duke out of the NCAA tournament, I think it was the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, Dylan Brooks shot a three at the end of the game, and Coach K did not like that and basically said, "You're better than that." And Dylan Brooks said, "I apologize." Obviously, that apology was not sincere.
I don't know if it was. I'm not going to judge the sincerity of his apology. Now I will say that he didn't learn from his behavior, but
That's why I don't think it was sincere. But
that's fair.
we we are back, man. We're gonna move on. So we talked about Kawhi and Draymond saying Kawhi basically the Clippers, because they're not the marquee team in LA, which makes them a prime candidate to move to Las Vegas. Because they're not the prime team for LA.
They're not moving to Vegas. Baltimore just spent $1 billion on that stadium. They'd be right there in LA.
Yeah, you're right. But so now they lost to the Suns. The Suns are now playing the Nuggets.
They would have made
And
up a new series. They look like the Mavericks right now.
and of course, everybody's talking about KD and Booker, but it's really Jokic and Murray. And right now, Jokic is just dominating DeAndre Ayton. Notice I didn't say Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton. Because in these playoffs, I always say all the time, DeAndre Ayton has the quietest 20 and 10 average ever. I don't and when I say quietest, I would say I don't like saying it's not impactful. But it's just,
It's just
man.
not. It's not dominant, and it's
Yeah.
very similar to It's very similar to Carl Anthony Towns with a little bit better rim protection, but it's just not. Is You're not sending a message to the other team, and I give you a guy who I think is more like Aiden. Don't kill me for what I'm saying when I say this. Try to understand what I'm saying. Look at a guy like Hakeem Olajuwon, gifted but more finesse than Fury, but he still was dominant. If Aiden wants to get to that next level, he has to find a way to. I don't think he can change his game. He's going to be a finesse player, but you got to find a way to dominate. He doesn't do that right.
I'm gonna disagree with that comparison because Olajuwon was defensively dominant. Olajuwon was like defensive player of the year multiple times. He was actually known for his defense, no more than his offense. Um,
But
and then
I'm more talking
off.
about just yeah. That's kind of what I'm trying to communicate is you got to find a way to dominate on the floor. Not just he's a good basketball player, but he's not. He hasn't found his way to dominate. And then you do stuff like this where he's just loafing
Well,
and
I
watching
don't.
two other people fight for a rebound, and he stands out of bounds. I can't understand this. Like for the rest, I
To
can't
be a
understand this at all.
to be a big, you have to play big. I don't think he has to be dominant because there's plenty bigs that weren't dominant, but they were good. Kevon Looney, for example. Kevon Looney plays big. He dominated the boards, and that's what he was gonna do. DeAndre Ayton does stuff like this, and we're gonna play this. This is DeAndre Ayton with Jokic and the Nuggets in Game One crashing the boards, and DeAndre Ayton sat under the rim. Here it is, right here, y'all.
Jokic, couple of
Just
tries,
what is he
misses,
doing?
gets it back, missed again. Brown
Luckily, they got
curling,
the
here it
rebound.
comes. Left hand, no.
That is the
Jokic
definition of low motor. You just stood there and watched Joker.
missed again.
You
even
let
try.
KD
This is
be
how
the
you end up
center
with-
on that game. That's KD. Look at KD. KD is the one going after the rebounds. Jokic is giving you work. Like, that's part of the reason why you say you don't want Ayton.
This is the reason that it makes Monty Williams look right about you. You quit. Because what you did on that play, you quit. You stood out, you backed up, stood out of bounds, and watched. And you wanted a max contract and you play like that?
Well, he got it. And the thing is,
No, he got money, but he didn't get the he was eligible basically for like a super max minus whatever the super max is, minus an all NBA and or all-star. So he couldn't get the Trey Luca, but he could have got still a ton more money than he got.
yeah, that's true. So the Nuggets ended up winning game 1. What everybody said was gonna happen happened. Outside of Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton, there really wasn't anything else scoring wise. Torrey Craig didn't do much. Josh Okogie didn't do much. I don't know really anybody else on the team other than Chris Paul. Chris Paul, best days are behind him. It is what it is, man. So they're battling right now in game 2. But Ayton, you're right, man. For everybody that was saying trade Clint for Ayton, there's no way I'm doing that if this is what John Collins or whoever is our 4 will be down there by themselves getting absolutely destroyed with Ayton over there. You can't do that. So you got to be better. Got to be better.
How do you feel about Collins and Okongwu for Ayton?
So what you're saying is you would have Capella and Ayton at the 5 and 4? Or you're saying you put Capella on the bench?
We could be the Atlanta Timberwolves.
And what has that gotten Minnesota?
I think that the rest of the team is better. I think that actually doesn't work as bad for us because Ayton can shoot.
Ayton can't guard the 4.
Nah, you're just funneling everything to Clint. Now that is
Funneling what?
You're right, because they're gonna put Jason Tatum on the 4. You're gonna be out
You'd
there
have
looking
to
like a baby
do,
deer.
Like Capella, you can't get Ayton and keep Capella. If you go for Ayton, you got to keep John. Or if you go for Ayton, you got to get rid of Capella somewhere. You got to do something. So
Yeah,
maybe start Jalen at that point, because then at that point, Jalen could run point, but they're not going to do it. Anyway, moving on, man. So we talked about when we were at 100, my bad takes. And I went back and listened to 100 again for the 5th time. I realized we really didn't get into a lot of Norwood bad takes. We kind of just laughed our way through that part. You skeeched on through your bad takes. I think you did admit Donovan Mitchell. But another one of your bad takes was Jalen Brunson saying that he's overpaid and Now, you didn't say this quote, but this is Josh Hart trolling.
Wait, hold on. This is one season. We have to see what this deal continues to look like. At this point, I'm on the wrong side of it. But I'm okay with that. Because we got to see what the deal looks like. Because the same thing.
So
everybody was high on Julius
in 2023, is he overpaid?
Huh?
In 2023, is he overpaid?
Nope. Underpaid.
Well, then you're wrong. We don't have to wait till the end of it. Right now, you're wrong. You are wrong.
No. Okay, so I could be wrong now, but there is a world where I could be right too, right?
Sure, at the end of it, year by year though.
Okay.
Right now, you are wrong. He's not in
I'm willing-
2023. No, because you're gonna try to say it when he turns 30 something and then he's getting paid $40 million.
No, I'm not going to
it's
say
gonna be
that. I'm going to
overpaid.
say we're going to reevaluate this deal at the end, and we will be able to see either, hey, man, he was paid too little, he was paid properly, or he was overpaid. But we all know that one season does not make a good contract.
Y'all
Also,
said he's not overpaid.
if we that's the other part about it. If he wasn't, then you paid too much for Donovan Mitchell to get put out in the first round. So I'm 100% willing to take
I don't have
that I was wrong.
How do you bring in Donovan Mitchell to your wrong take about Jalen Brunson?
Fantastic question. Because you were grading me on my take. So I'm saying I am going to take this. Raise my hand. I'm going to pull a jaw right here. This was me. Year one, I was wrong about Jalen Brunson. I would damn near say he was underpaid for his contribution, and I was wrong in year one. Mm-hmm. I'm wrong about that.
You are.
But I was right about Donovan Mitchell. For what they got, a first round exit, and you don't have a draft pick until 2042, then you overpaid. You did not get what you should have gotten out of that team.
So
Sorry.
Let me back up real quick. Nobody ever argued you about Cleveland overpaying Donovan Mitchell. Nobody said that you were wrong on that take. I did not. Wait, hold on. Nobody argued you about that being an overpay. We actually said on the podcast multiple times, why are y'all doing deals with Danny Ainge? He is out here killing y'all. And we all agreed that it was an overpay. Your take was Donovan Mitchell was a dime a dozen. That was your second Donovan Mitchell take. And the dime a dozen is when we said, hey, you, sir, are tripping. And you tried to talk your way, smooth talking to being correct, and you were wrong.
Listen to the podcast, tell me I was wrong, and Donovan Mitchell was not an overpay.
So
I am a firm believer that the Donovan Mitchell trade was an overpay. You don't do a deal with Danny Ainge. And I think through season one, I was right about that.
Everybody agreed that was an overpay. I feel like you're trying to give yourself. No, I feel like you're trying to give yourself. I feel like you're trying to mask.
But I've had this conversation with probably close to half a dozen people. And I said to all of them, look what you gave up. You gave up pick after pick after pick after pick. You gave up Colin Sexton. You gave up Lauri Markkanen. If you look at Lauri Markkanen's production and you look at Donovan Mitchell's production, they're almost the damn same. And I said, you overpaid. And a lot of people, not you maybe, but a lot of people said, no, this wasn't an overpay. Not even close. And so I believe that Donovan Mitchell
that your dime a dozen take was wrong then? I just want to make sure you acknowledge that.
I mean, if you saw what he did in the playoffs, I think that they are.
Is he a dime a dozen? Is he a dime a dozen? Yes or no? Because you back the. I'm just making sure because you have a tendency to make a take, then when you're wrong, you backtrack, and then you try to come back and justify being wrong again after you backtrack. So you said last time that you were wrong about that. I'm just making sure that you're saying that
regular season he was elite. Playoffs he was a dozen of dimes.
So you're saying he's a dozen of dimes, or are you saying he's elite? What are you saying?
I'm saying that
regular season. Are you doubling down on he's a dime a dozen take or not?
I'm saying that in the playoffs, would it matter the most? He was a dime a dozen.
So you're doubling down. He's a dime a dozen. I'm just making sure because you're giving me a lot of words for yes or no.
I'm saying in the playoffs. Now he was elite. I'm going to give him credit for both.
That boy tried to be right and wrong. Season. This is grade A debate. You're trying to be right and wrong at the same time.
I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I'm giving credit where credit is due. He had an excellent regular season. Excellent. He made me look really bad in the regular season. He almost made me look crazy. But then he came through when at the very most important time and did not get it done. So no, I can't. I don't think that you think that he played great in the postseason.
No, that's not the
He
question.
played like
You're answering a lot of questions that's not the question. That's why I'm laughing.
Isn't the postseason when you should ratchet your game up to the next
However
level?
listen. However the words you keep adding to it is fine. I'm saying to you, you said Donovan Mitchell is a dime a dozen, and I'm asking you, do you feel that way, yes or no? You giving me scenarios, and maybe in the regular season he's a lead, in the playoffs he's not, blase, blase, blah. I'm asking you.
Well, yes. No. Regular season, nah, he's elite. Playoffs.
I'm not asking you,
be the
overall. Therefore, we're going to end that regular season. Overall, is Donovan Mitchell a dime a dozen?
Overall, that would include both, right?
Overall.
Overall, being that he was two different people, I would say TBD.
You said he was two different people. What do you think he averaged it during the season?
It was like 25 points.
It was 28, 4, and 4. In the playoffs, he had
Laurie was at
28, 7, 5. Game 2, he had a terrible game. 11, 5.
Look at him
4.
shooting percentages. They're terrible. They're bad.
Game 2 is 27%. But it's 28, 5, and 7 in game 1, 11, 5, and 4 in game 2, 22, 7, and 5 in game 3, 17, 13, and 2 in game 4, 38, 8, and 5 in game 5.
How many shots did he shoot that last game?
I don't know. He shot 46%. So he shot 46%, 54%. I'm sorry, he shot 47%, 55%, 47%, 43%, and 28%. That 11-point game, he was awful. But the other 4 games. So you telling me all of that gives you dime a dozen? You still haven't answered the question. Overall, is he dime a dozen or no?
For this, but also, I don't think that the Knicks are really. I don't think the Knicks are that good of a basketball team. Am I wrong for saying that?
I just want you to answer: is he dime a dozen overall or no? You still haven't answered that question.
I think to be determined to me. But wait. Okay, so
grade A. No. I already told you he's not. I think he's.
Do you think the Knicks are a good basketball team? Like, how good do you think the Knicks are?
Is we gonna pivot to another point, or no?
No. No, the reason you're frustrated, the reason it is because he didn't play that well, and I don't think that you think the Knicks are that good of a basketball team. So he didn't even really play that well against a team that's just not that good to him.
What I'm saying is he didn't play real bad. He had one bad game. Really? Yeah, one bad game. The Knicks beat them because they bullied Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And they were relying on Karis LeVert to be the second scorer. And Isaac Okoro is PJ Tucker with no three-point shot. Like, that's the reason they lost. They didn't lose because of Donovan Mitchell. So that's why I'm asking. I'm like, dog, you saying he was awful. I'm like, he averaged like 25 points. He averaged this season average.
If you're going to be that guy, you have to find a way to – you're the number one on that team.
Josh said, what are you waiting on to make that determination? It's the end of the season. Yeah, that is true.
Because to me, there were two polar opposites. Regular season, he was elite.
Went over the stats. He averaged.
Yes.
He averaged just about the same he did in the postseason that he did in the regular season.
I think I think that he should have showed up against the Knicks big. Like, I like the Knicks. I think that they play tough, but I also don't think the Knicks are an elite basketball team.
I don't.
And you playing regular. You playing regular against a regular basketball team to me, that's not impressing me. Unless you think the Knicks are good, and I would like that's
me thinking that's inconsequential. I'm asking you. You said he's dime a dozen. You keep giving me, okay, in the regular season, he's not. In the playoffs, he didn't show up. I pull up the stats. I said he had one bad game. Blase, blase,
Okay.
blah. Then I'm asking you, and you
So-
keep dancing around the answer.
He is an elite regular season basketball player. That's what I'll give. Elite.
Then we'll dance on to the next topic. Jalen Brunson, underpaid.
I know. I hate when people do that because you call people regular season warriors and then they get to the postseason and fall off. That's not unreasonable to say to a person.
Nobody. Again, you keep answering a lot of questions that I'm not asking. I am asking you to double down on your take of he's dime a dozen or not. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Okay, so do you think he's elite?
I don't think I think he's better than a dime a dozen. What about you?
I don't know what that means.
You said it. How do you not know what that means that you said it?
No. I'm asking you. I'm trying to quantify how good you think he is.
I think he's better than a dime a dozen. He is above average. He's good. Whatever you think, what is a dime a dozen to you? Because you said he's a dime a dozen. I disagreed with you. You defined it before. Define dime a dozen again, and tell me whether he's dime a dozen or not. Yes or no?
So I heard what you said, and you said Donovan Mitchell is good, right?
Mm-hmm. Dime a dozen. Is he a dime a dozen or not, Norwood? You can keep giving. You keep trying to pivot.
You're proving my point. You're proving my point by what you're saying.
What is your point?
You think he's good. How many good guards do you think are in the NBA right now?
Is he better dime a dozen or not? Dime a dozen or not?
No, you're moonwalking now.
I am not. This is your point. I think he's better. I think we went through the topics. We actually had an episode where we ranked them.
Okay.
And we said he's like 7 or 8. So it doesn't matter. What is dime a dozen? I know, Josh. But the thing is, rank your guards or whatever that stuff.
No, I got the answer here.
No, you don't.
I think
the answer is yes or no.
You think he's good. I think that there are a bunch of good guards in the NBA. So
the
that's
answer is
the
yes.
reason you get the dime a dozen conversation.
So you think he's dime a dozen?
I think he's good, but I think there are a bunch of good guards. You said you think he's good too.
So yes.
You think there are a bunch of good guards.
So yes. You think so? Yes or no? Yes or no?
So we have the same opinion, but you're trying.
No,
to
we don't. No, 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 we don't. Yes or no, Norwood? Is he a dime a dozen or not?
Good.
We are on this topic
he's good.
We are. Hey, y'all. The thing is, I have a timer over here. We started this topic at 16 minutes. It's now 23 minutes and 55 seconds. He has wasted 6 minutes to not answer the question.
He is good. That's
so
what
I
want to say. That's what you
dime
said.
A dozen or no? Dime a dozen or no? So you're not gonna answer.
Good.
Cool. Let's tap dance to the next topic. Dime a dozen or no? He still has not said anything.
You're copping out.
How am I copping out? And it's your point. You're the one that said he's dime a dozen. I said he's not. I said he's better than a dime a dozen. What about you? You don't have to quantify nothing if you don't answer the question. What are you trying? You said it. We went through the quantification. All this stuff you asking. We have multiple episodes where we went through the top guards. We went to where he was. We did all of that in a whole bunch of episodes, and yet you still have not answered the question. So we can move on to Jimmy because Jimmy owns Drew Holiday.
I used the same answer that you did. You said he was good. I think he's good.
No. My answer was I think he's better than a dime a dozen. I asked you the same thing. You still have not answered that question. You keep pivoting to something else, or you try to ask me a question instead of answering the actual question. It's very obvious what you're doing. So we don't have to do that anymore because now we at 9 minutes. It don't matter. We at 9 minutes now. Let's talk about Jimmy absolutely destroying the Bucks.
That's a nasty cop out.
You wrote the book, brother. Let me know. Because you still didn't answer the question. Jimmy, though.
Hey, Mike Jackson want that moonwalk.
Yeah, you let me know. You helped him invent it. Jimmy Butler told Drew Holiday, down 6 with 2 minutes to go, I own you. Do you know? Talk about what KG said that James Wiseman ain't got loony balls.
Facts.
Jimmy Butler went to Milwaukee, Game 7, and pardon my word, put his nuts on center court, bruh. and said, I own you with 2 minutes left, down 6, and ended up winning the game. I own you. And Drew Holiday, I'm going to say, was shell-shocked. Drew Holiday was shell-shocked.
It's Jimmy. Everybody's shell-shocked.
And Giannis, I got a problem with this too. Giannis gonna run over there and say, "Don't say nothing, don't say nothing." No. Don't pull me. No. Don't allow him to talk shit to me and then hold me back, because that's gonna make me angrier. Me personally, if you try to hold me back when somebody talks shit to me, that's gonna make me angrier. So let me talk my shit back, but you gotta back it up, Drew. You can't allow Jimmy to win this game.
You also have to know your personnel. You know that certain people, and I watched enough Drew basketball. I've never really seen him talk trash. I've never seen him get caught up in his emotions. He's pretty even keeled.
Yeah.
If you know that's not your teammate's thing, and you know that if that's gonna get him riled up and get him playing out of how he typically plays, then you're exactly right. Let me get between him, bro. You need to focus back on playing your game instead of, because you're not gonna be able to go back and forth with Jimmy and win. Not a chance. That's not your game. That's his game. He wants to get you outside of yourself. You got to have enough self-control to say that's not how I play basketball.
Yeah, Shaq is fun. I'm sorry. Shaq has a seat remote, and he's controlling Kenny's seat. So when they raced to the board, he made sure Kenny couldn't turn around and ran and beat Kenny to the screen. Shaq is hilarious. But yeah, you're right, man. Drew, you're right. Drew's demeanor has never been
surgery too.
Yeah, he can't move for real. Drew's isn't the trash talker. He's a nice guy. He talks about his family. He's not a killer. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner. He's a nice guy. He plays hard. He plays really good defense. He can hit a shot. He can hit a clutch shot. He doesn't strike intimidation. Jimmy, that's an intimidation move.
I'm going to push back a little bit there. I don't think that you have to strike intimidation to be a killer. I think that some of the killerest of killers don't strike you as intimidating.
In basketball?
If you look like a real assassin, I don't intimidate you because you never see me. There's not even an interaction here. I'm going to come here. I am surgical. I'm not here to intimidate you, scare. I'm going to do my job. Kawhi Leonard. He is a perfect example of a guy who he doesn't really strike a lot of intimidation. He's a robot. I'm just here to do this job. There's no emotion. I'm just going to murder you and you'll be dead.
I think Kawhi Leonard skill-wise is better than Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy Butler has to use intimidation as a tactic and use the mental part of the game to add to his lore. That's what I was talking about.
Yes.
Like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, Jimmy Butler, who else smacked people and cussed people out? And
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant. KG, Kevin Garnett.
About like the
Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett.
Verbal part. Oh yeah.
The ones that had to Shaq. The ones that had to like psych themselves out in order, and they used intimidation as a part of the game. Yes, they were just as skilled as you. Sometimes they weren't as skilled as you. And I think Jimmy Butler on that list may be the least talented person on the
if
list.
you look at
but
Jimmy
he was
Butler,
one of those guys
his accomplishments don't match up with his abilities. He is a guy who plays way above his skill level. He's not really a great dribbler of the basketball. He's not a great shooter. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's a pretty good defender, but with his time, he is the intangible.
Winning time. Jimmy Butler is like a meaner version of Paul Pierce to me. Paul Pierce wasn't overly athletic. He didn't jump and just dunk over you. But Paul Pierce got to his spot. Paul Pierce would get to his spots, hit you with the hand, old man shot, and he hit the open three. And Paul Pierce tried really hard on defense. Jimmy is a meaner version of Paul Pierce to me. And I think the only difference is I think Jimmy is a better defensive player. I think Paul Pierce may be a better offensive player. Paul Pierce I think Jimmy flops more than Paul Pierce did. And I think that's just part of the game. But
Different era.
but Jimmy is a beast, and for them to do what they did to Milwaukee, outside of Giannis getting hurt, let's talk about that. Let's talk about. Let me take this off because I don't have a big graphic. Let's talk about what Giannis said. Giannis said that this season was not a failure, right? Giannis says he got mad when somebody asked him, hey, do you think by not winning the championship this season is a failure? He got mad. He basically said, well, Michael Jordan didn't win the championship. He only won it 6 times in 15 seasons. The other 9 seasons a failure. If you don't win the championship, it's a failure. Blase, blase, blah. I understand what you were trying to say. And to a certain extent, I agree. Just because you don't win a championship doesn't mean your season is a failure. Unless you're the number 1 overall seed and you're the number 1 seed in the East and you have a perennial MVP candidate, defensive player of the year, you're the number 1 defensive team, and you're a top 10 scoring team in the league. And you lose to the 8 seed that has Jimmy Butler, Fat Lowry, Bam Adebayo, and everybody else. You lost to them. That makes this season a failure. Not winning the championship. Well, not winning the championship with that team too. You have 2 defensive player of the year candidates now that I think about it. And you have a 6-man of the year candidate in Bobby Portis. And y'all lost to the Heat. You lost to Jimmy Butler, who scored 66 points in 2 games. You can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry,
Success
100
and failure
points in 2 games. Go ahead.
Are in the eye of the beholder. So, I mean, if you look at the entire extent of where Giannis started from as a human to where he is now, there is not a point in this where there's failure. Yeah. And that's what I think I think that's one of the things that I do like about him is he doesn't get caught up in the basketball politics of it. He's like, bro, man, we was selling trinkets before I played basketball. Now my entire team is in the NBA. My family is doing well. I've won a championship. I'm an MVP. Yeah, I didn't get it this year, but it's not a failure to me. I mean, and on top of that, I played 11 minutes in 1 game and I missed 2 games. I think that if you have me at full strength for 3 games, the series probably goes a different way. So, I mean, and I think he's probably like, yeah, you can call it a failure all you want to. You didn't get out there and play. So, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but how much does it matter?
So don't hate me for this. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I think that's a cop-out. I understand what he's saying. Like, yeah, I came from nothing. We were immigrants from Nigeria. We had to change the spelling of our name. We know the story, but that's not what we talk about. We ain't talking about your overall story. I mean, we're not talking about you coming from rags to riches and what you've done for your family. No, nobody's saying that. So to reference that, I think personally is a cop-out. We're talking about this season where you the number 1 team with 2 defensive player of the year candidates, 2 defensive player of the year past winners, 6-man of the year candidate, MVP candidate, number 1 overall seed, and you lose to the number 8 seed, and you were favorited, odds-on favorite to win the championship this year. I think that makes it a failure. I think that makes the season a failure.
For me personally, that just makes me want to see him succeed again now, so he can succeed. And I hope he this is the type of stuff.
Villain origin story.
I hope that he's I just hope he's an arrogant asshole when he wins. All y'all people who say I failed, no, the movie was not over. That was just scene 2. You got to get to the end.
Nobody said that you failed in life. I said you failed this season. Next season you could win it, and I say next season you are a success. You won.
And
but last season
your opinion didn't matter. Just like your opinion didn't matter last season, it don't quantify now either. So
if
you
it
just
didn't matter last season, then you would. If it didn't matter, then he wouldn't have got mad when you asked the question. So obviously the opinion, it hit some type of nerve. So, but I mean, And like you said, success is in the eye of the beholder. Next season, they could be the number 7 seed. They could be a number 7 seed. They could have a whole bunch they could battle a whole bunch of stuff, and then they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals as a number 7 seed. That to me would not be a failure.
So is Charles Barkley a failure?
In life, no. Charles Barkley's not a failure.
In basketball.
No, neither is Giannis. Nobody, and I think that's where you're conflating what I'm saying. Giannis is not a failure in basketball. I'm saying this season, I'm going to say it again so I'll make sure you understand. This season, they failed. They were supposed to win the championship this season.
So Charles Barkley every year had a failing season.
Nope. See, and you're conflating what I'm saying. You conflate what I'm saying.
Explain
Charles
it to me
Barkley
so I
was
can
never.
understand it.
He was never the favorite to win the championship. Charles Barkley was never the favorite. Never the favorite. Never. In his entire career, he was never the favorite. I don't even think he was the number. I think the one year he was number 1 seed had to play against Michael Jordan. He was never the favorite. Giannis and his team were the odds-on favorites. They were the number 1 seed. The only team that had a better the only team
limits the amount of people who can who even have the opportunity to fail.
I don't care. That's not the point. The point is you failed. I'm not saying he's a failure, but I think that was his answer, saying I didn't fail in life. And what you're trying to do by saying that Charles Barkley every season that's a cop out. No. You are the best team. You are the best team, right? So put it to you this way. The Patriots went 17-0. Made it all the way to the playoffs, or 18-0. Made it to the Super Bowl, went 18-1 and lost the Super Bowl. They were undefeated. That is a failure. That is a failure because you were the best team in the league the whole year by far.
Right. And wasn't Brooklyn the favorite to start when they had Kyrie? And they didn't have James. They had Bean.
They were never the only
team that can.
They were never the number 1 seed.
So the only teams that can fail are the preseason favorites.
How did you get that?
I'm trying to figure out who can fail. You said they were the best. They were the number 1 seed.
Yes.
So
going into
the 2 seed win, if
Boston loses to the Hawks and they don't win the championship, or they lose to a inferior team, that is a failure. If Boston goes to the Eastern Conference Finals and plays the Bucks, that's not a failure because they lost to allegedly they lost to a better team. I'm saying that number 1 seed lost to the 8th seed, and they were not preseason number 1, which is what you tried to slide in there, which is why I didn't understand what you were trying to say. They were the number 1 seed in the East damn near the whole year. The only team that was really close to them was Boston, and they were still favored over Boston. Like Denver. So put it to you this way. If Denver loses, they're a failure. Right? They're a failure.
Kings a failure or no?
No, they are not. The Kings are not a failure. The Kings weren't supposed to be in this position. The Kings came out of nowhere. The Kings are not a failure. Their season was a success. It's unfortunate they ran into
where did the Kings start the playoffs?
Number 3.
Where did the Warriors start the playoffs?
Number 6.
But you said that if a 1 seed loses to an 8 seed, it's a failure. If a 2 seed loses to
Come
a
on, bro.
7
So
seed,
first off, hold on, time out. First off, we picked. I see you're still upset about Donovan Mitchell. It's okay.
No,
what I'm saying is, hold on, let me finish. I don't understand. There's a lot of stuff I say that's pretty definitive. The Warriors, we both sat up here and said the Warriors getting Andrew Wiggins back is unfortunate for the Kings. They are no longer the favorite in this series. We said that. Me and you said that on multiple occasions. As a matter of fact, by me saying that, I just quoted you. So you don't even think that the Kings were going to beat the Warriors. That's not a failure. The Kings hadn't made the playoffs in 20 years. Hadn't made the playoffs, not win a series. They hadn't made the playoffs since Shaq was in L.A. He is now having hip replacement. So that's not a failure. If the Kings
would have won, would it have been a failure for the Warriors?
Yes. At full strength? Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I think the Warriors were playing with house money. It is what it is. If the Warriors would have had Andrew Wiggins the whole year and would have been fine, and they would then yeah, it could have been a failure. But being the number 1 seed, if Denver doesn't win it, they're a failure. If not, if who's the number 1 seed in the East? Milwaukee didn't win it, they're a failure. Now that Milwaukee's out, if Boston don't win it.
So if Boston loses to the Sixers, their season is a failure?
Yeah. I think it's championship or bust for them.
And if the Sixers lose, they're in the clear.
Yeah.
They didn't
Well,
fail.
no. The Sixers have to make it past the second round. To me. They've never made it past the second round. For their season to be a success, they have to make it past the second round. Otherwise,
So either way, somebody's season is a failure here in a couple days.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. The Celtics
But
made
the
the
Kings
championship
couldn't-
last year.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how to quantify who's. It seems, yeah, it's difficult to track who can fail and who can't.
why? I don't understand how
It seems like
you losing to
failure
an
is
eighth seed.
only.
Yeah. To me, if the Bucks season is a failure. Losing in the first round is a failure. The only way I would say it's not a failure. I mean, you would have had to lose
The
to
Grizzlies
Boston.
season was a failure.
Yeah. You got eliminated by the Lakers. You got eliminated by a 7th seed. Yeah, that's failure. Failure. It's a failure.
But
It's unfortunate.
losing to LeBron and AD is a failure.
Man, the Grizzlies, yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes. Oh, that's a foul.
Yeah, for me, Cleveland
Okay,
season
me.
failure or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Knicks
I
season.
didn't expect that one.
Knicks season. Success. Knicks could lose this series. Knicks season. Success.
Clippers season failure.
Failure.
Or no?
Failure. Failure.
They
Failure. It's unfortunate. They didn't fail because of basketball. They failed because of health. But they failed. Because the Clippers are championship and bust. They're championship or bust. They're championship or bust. It's unfortunate.
Okay. Wait. Hawk season failure or no?
Fail. The Hawks underachieved.
We were the 7th seed.
Should we have been the 7th seed with our roster, Norwood?
Hey, bro, this is what I'm trying to figure out your level.
Every time you
I'm
ask me, I'm
trying-
explaining to you. Were we the 7th? Should we have been the 7th seed?
Brooklyn season failure or no?
I would say it's not a failure because they had to trade all of their superstars and they got something back and they still made the playoffs. I think they overachieved going through what they had to go through. Lakers season. Lakers could lose this series. Success.
Okay. So
Well,
one thing that I have
Because LeBron got to
gotten
win.
from
No,
this-
Lakers not a success. Go ahead. What's one thing?
So the thing that I've gotten from this after I sum this all up is that success and failure is 100% in the eye of the beholder, because there's not like if you're the underdog or the favorite, you're guaranteed to either succeed or fail. It is a person's own personal opinion of how good you're supposed to be. And that's how you end up with a 3 seed losing to a 6 seed, but that being considered a win. And then you have a 1 seed lose to an 8 seed, and that's a complete failure. It's not, whatever it is inconsistent.
However, whatever, man. You could try to, whatever. I know what I said. The Kings had not made the playoffs in 20 years. Them making the playoffs makes the season a success. That makes the season a success right there. They hadn't been there in 20 years. That's actually pretty good. Is correlated to expectations. The Bucks are a champion. They have all of this.
So the Cavs couldn't have been a failure.
Why? The Cavs were expected to go past the first round. You crazy. They went to the first round last year.
No, they
Or
did
no,
not.
we beat them in the play-in. But yeah, they were not expected to lose in the first round. I actually agree with
They
that.
went
very well,
from the
Josh.
play-in
to losing in the
to
first
the first round. They made it out of
round.
Minnesota. Failure or no?
Who did they lose? They lost overall season.
Lost to Denver.
Overall season, did they underachieve? What were they picked?
Ah, damn.
What were
Reggie
the
tough, boy.
expectations? What were they?
Let
No.
Reggie tell y'all all failed.
Because no, I'm not. I think Josh summed up what I'm saying perfectly. Failure is directly correlated to expectations. So I'm trying to remember what the Timberwolves' expectations were this year. I don't think they should have been the 8 seed. So if they shouldn't have been the 8 seed, I think they're better than being the 8 seed. So if I have that same top with the Hawks, I would have to say the same thing with the Timberwolves. So yeah, I think they underachieved. So yeah, they failed.
Okay, so did you expect them to be better than Denver? No. Did you expect them to be better than the Suns? No. Did you expect them to be better than the Clippers? No. Did you expect them to be better than Memphis? No. Did you expect them to be better than the Lakers? No.
Yes.
Did you expect them to be better than the Warriors? You expect them to be better than the Lakers?
I expected them to be in the top 6 or 7. Yeah, with Rudy Gobert and
one is. Oh wait, hold on. One is Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis at 2. Throw away Sacramento for now. Phoenix at 4. Clippers at 5.
The West is tough.
So Lakers.
I expected them to be better than the
So-
Lakers. Or in the same.
So you
place as the
thought
Lakers.
them to be as good as the Lakers?
Yeah, they were one game worse than the Lakers. One game. They were 43-39. The Lakers, they were 42 and 40, and Cat missed 56 games. What are you talking about?
So then they were appropriately successful, considering what they have left on the team. With no Cat for 56 games, they're about as good as LeBron and AD.
That's saying they underachieved. I'm saying they underachieved. They underachieved. I don't know how else to say it. They underachieved.
So you expected them
just
to
like
win
the Clippers,
more games with
just
Cat
like the
being out for
Clippers,
56
just like
games?
the Clippers, just like the Clippers. The Clippers underachieved. They were supposed to. The Clippers spent all that money. They're supposed to win the championship. They underachieved.
This is that. So you
What?
the only teams that were better than them that's unrealistic, like, so where did you expect Memphis to be?
About where they are.
So you expected Memphis to be number 2.
I expected Memphis to beat the Lakers. That's what makes their season a failure.
But what I'm saying is, all right, so Denver's number 1. You did not expect the Clippers to be better than Denver.
The Clippers to be better than Denver? At the beginning of the season when everybody's healthy, the Clippers were picked to win the West. What are you talking about?
I never picked the Clippers to win the West. Not a chance, but
Just like you said,
I
you
guess,
may
yeah.
not have, but a lot of people that were on TV that we've had conversations with, the Clippers were picked to, it was the Clippers and Memphis, really, were picked to win the West. Those were the 2 teams. Nobody gave the Lakers a chance. Everybody said Golden State last year was it. That was it. Nobody saw the Kings coming. Nobody believes in Denver. And Kevin Durant was on Brooklyn, so nobody picked Phoenix. It was the Clippers and Memphis were the 2 favorites in the West.
wait. They still have Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and DeAndre.
But they didn't. But they were not picked to win the West. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you that Memphis and the Clippers were the ones to pick to go to the Western Conference Finals. Both of them lost in the first round.
I think that this is, I just think that's an unrealistic expectation. Everybody can't win the championship. It can't be. It can't be the expectation
you're
for over
and
half
again,
the
you
NBA to win
you
a
keep trying to
championship.
put a blanket statement on what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody can win a championship. I'm saying if you don't meet expectations, if Milwaukee would have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals or made it to the finals and lost, that wouldn't be a failure. But they lost to the Heat in round 1.
Hey.
You allow Jimmy Butler to score 100 points in 2 games. You got 3 defensive player of the year candidates. 3. And he scored 100 points. That's a failure. That's a failure.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. So next, if the Lakers lose, they're gonna be a failure too. If they lose to Golden State.
Why? Why are you asking me that? Why do you think that? What logic do you think I'm saying by that?
I'm asking a question.
The Lakers have already passed expectations. Nobody thought the Lakers were even going to make the playoffs. A lot of people picked them to not get out of the play-in. They are now in the Western Conference semifinals.
Okay.
They exceeded expectations. That roster was awful. Nobody, even when they made the trade, they started out 2-10.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I have a lot different opinion on a lot of different teams.
That's fine with me.
Good to notice, though.
Yeah, at least I state my opinion and where I stand. I don't tap dance. But before, shots, all of them, all the shots.
I can't wait for you to listen back to this and then tell me I state my opinion, and then
Either way, before we get to it, you did bring up Warriors Lakers, and I want to say this. Boy, Bismack Biyombo was awful. I want to say this. I'm not going to say this is going to be the last round of Curry versus LeBron, because we thought that was the last round like 2 rounds ago. And every time we think that it's the last round, they can't do anything. LeBron has a 30-point triple-double at the age of 38 and becomes the oldest person to have a playoff triple-double. Or Curry scores at the age of 35, 58 and 6. And becomes the oldest player to score 50 points and have the most 3-pointers in a Game 7 clinch of all time. I just want y'all, I'm so happy I get to watch this series with no dog in the fight. I'm happy I'm not a Warriors fan. I'm happy I'm not a Lakers fan. I just get to watch LeBron versus Curry defy the odds yet again. Beat Father Time yet again. Y'all got to make sure when you watch this to make sure that you are appreciating the greatness that we're watching. Because this doesn't happen often, where there's 2 superstars, 2 arguable GOATs playing against each other in the playoffs almost every year. It doesn't happen. I think the last time that happened was Magic Bird. Michael Jordan didn't have a rival for real. He played a whole lot of people. The Lakers didn't have a rival for real. They beat the shit out of everybody. The only rival you could possibly say would be the Spurs. But they, maybe.
So if Golden State, I got to ask now. I'm too far in. If Golden State loses to the Lakers, is their season a failure?
I don't think so. I don't know. No, because I don't think they were picked to go this far at first.
But if the Lakers lose, their season also not a failure. So whoever wins out of that.
Yeah, both of them got house money. In my opinion, both of them got house money.
Denver and Phoenix. If Phoenix loses, is this not a failure?
They spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money.
So damn, there is the no expectation bracket and the expectation bracket.
I don't know.
Then there's
I don't.
That's exactly what it is. There are 2 expectation brackets and 2 non-expectation brackets. Miami and New York, no expectation. I don't care who wins. Do whatever you want to.
See, that's what I'm thinking, Josh. Josh says failure now that they have KD. It's hard for me to call that a failure only because they did it in the middle of the season. That's the only thing. If he was there the whole season, then yeah, I'd call it a failure. I think it's more pressure on it's equal pressure because Chris Paul ain't getting no younger. I don't know.
We figured it out.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Non-expectation bracket.
I don't.
Miami and New York, LA and Golden State.
No, because my instinct is to tell me that yes, it's a failure, but it's hard for me to say that when you made the trade in the middle of the season. But you traded for a top 5 player in the league to add, or top 2 scorer in the league to add to a top 2 scorer in the league to add to a top 10 center in the league. Like, you have the big 3, right? You made that trade. But it wouldn't be fair to me to say that their season would be a failure and I'm giving Brooklyn the same. I'm giving Brooklyn credit for making the trade and still making the playoffs, right? I'm giving them credit for making the playoffs because they had a midseason trade, a blockbuster trade. It was a blockbuster trade. You basically gave up everybody.
But they were gonna make the playoffs anyway. And realistically, they were gonna be a top. They were expected to be a top 4 team in the West.
Yes, and then you traded away your 3 best players or 2 best players, and you have
No.
nothing.
I'm talking about the Suns.
Oh, the Suns. Yeah, they were picked, and then they got Kevin Durant, but they gave up
Chris Paul, Devin Booker,
Kevin Durant,
Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, DeAndre Ayton is not a 5 seed.
No, I'm
they
saying
ain't pay that for that.
Right. So then the question would be, did they get worse by making this trade? It's hard to say they got worse by making this trade. You got Kevin Durant. But they gave up, like, the team. It's them 4 players and a bunch of I ain't going to say nobody's because that's disrespectful. Torrey Craig, Josh Okogie. I don't know who the rookie is from Kansas. That's a 6'5" power forward. I don't know who he is. And Cam Payne. That's your bench. You got 4 players and everybody else. It's hard for me to say with 4 players against everybody else and you playing Denver, the number 1 seed who has a legit 10-man rotation in the playoffs. Hard for me to say that that's going to be a failure, but you went all in. You traded your team. Yes, actually I am going to say that's a failure because you went all in and you traded your team. Now that I'm glad we brought it up because I had to talk through it. I had to talk through my thoughts. Yes, it's a failure. You traded all of that. You traded away Mikal Bridges, who looks like he's going to be a top whatever two-way player. He might be the top two-way player in the league between him and Jimmy and Kawhi when he's healthy, but Kawhi and Paul George, but neither one of them are healthy. So it's really between him and Jimmy. And you traded away Cam.
No, are you crazy as hell?
Oh, and Giannis. I'm sorry, top two-way player in the game. Giannis.
No.
Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Joel Embiid is, yes, one of, okay, I'll change it. He's in the conversation to be one of the top defensive two-way players in the league. Him and Mikal Bridges.
I don't think that there's a two-way player on this planet other than Giannis better than Joel Embiid.
Chris Paul got hurt again. Every time, Shawty. Every time. Yep. Growing. Every time. But what I'm saying is you gave up a lot to Brooklyn. You gave up so much to Brooklyn that Brooklyn traded away their best players and still made the playoffs. You gave up a lot for KD. This is an all-in move.
You gave them. You did. You got. That's tricky.
It's an all-in move.
Also did. But also they won a bunch of games. Like Brooklyn coasted to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They ended up a 6 seed. They were at one point the number 1 seed when everybody was playing.
Right.
So you made it to the playoffs, but you made it to the playoffs on the backs of other players.
Did you think they were going to make it to the playoffs after they made that trade? I think it was iffy.
I mean, it's the trade deadline. It's you almost 2/3 of the way through the season. I mean, they played good enough, but they just kind of they held it in the road. The car ran out of gas. You're just driving that thing to the finish line.
Either way, I don't think it's a failure. I don't think anybody would view Brooklyn's season as a failure. I think if Phoenix doesn't win the championship because of that giant move that they made, trading away their team, I think they would view that as a failure. It's tight.
Yeah, you wouldn't make the trade unless you don't make the trade and then expect to get put out the
then it's a failure. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad we talked through it. It's a failure. It's tight. It's tight. Listen, it's tight. Expectations are a bitch to live up to. And when you don't live up to them, it's failure. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't think so. I like I said, I think Miami could be swept. I mean, gentlemen's sweep, 4-1. I think that is a successful season. Well, no. Yeah. As an 8, that would be a successful season. I don't think Miami was picked to win the championship this year. I don't think they was picked to make the Eastern Conference Finals, personally.
No, whoever wins out of Miami and New York, neither one of those teams fails by my understanding.
The Knicks will not fail. The Knicks cannot fail. By them winning the series, they can't. If they win this series and make it the Eastern Conference Finals, their season is not a failure. It's not a failure. It's not.
Okay, so
if Philly doesn't get out of this round, to me, that's a failure.
But if Boston don't get out, they also a failure.
They are a failure. Yeah.
Denver don't get out is a failure. Phoenix don't get out is a failure.
Fail.
But
fail.
the Lakers,
we in the fail clutch now. We in the semis. If you supposed to be here, you supposed to win.
Look, the Lakers and Golden State have been marked safe.
Good to safe. They good to go. Exceeded expectations.
That's crazy. That's so tough. We all play in the same round.
Yeah.
And some
Yeah. It's like football. If Georgia's schedule is super, super soft next year, right? If they go 13-0 with this super soft schedule, that's to be expected. If they go 11-2, that would be considered a failure. They wouldn't.
So if y'all don't win a national championship next year,
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
I understand that. I was asking. I'm trying to understand where your level of success is.
If you don't make expectations, if you don't reach your expectations, to me that's a failure.
So if they don't make it to the playoffs, then the season is a failure.
Yeah. Next year, with the schedule they got, yeah. If they don't make the playoffs, it's a failure. Yes. With everybody they got coming back, yeah. Fuck yeah. Brock Bowers, you got the running backs, the D-line, you got your cornerbacks returning, yeah. But let's say if Florida goes 11-2 and doesn't make the playoff, their season is still a success.
So USC, they need to make the playoffs a failure, or it's a failure.
If that's their expectations, yes. I don't. If Florida goes 11-2 with their expectations,
let's not spiral on that right now. Let's actually go to the football segment. I need a drink now. I'll be coming back.
You tripping? I made this crystal clear. But y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Shout out everybody Facebook, YouTube.
Murky as swamp water over here, boy.
Boy, you just mad because you still have not answered the dime a dozen question, and we are an hour and 2 minutes into our second portion after the Chinese weather balloons. We'll be right back with our final segment, football news around the league. Lamar, talk about expectations. They on you now, big bro. They are on you now, bro. We'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned.
Hey, you better win that Super Bowl, Lamar, even though you don't. Good luck, brother.
Hey, man, just reach your expectations, my guy. That's all I ask. We'll be right back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for our final segment of episode 101 of the Splash Cast, the Around the League edition, Monday Night Raw. Oh, man. Oh, I came prepared. Still got a little Patrones from the Patrona Hennessy episode.
This episode will be titled Great Expectations.
I like it.
I think that's the only appropriate name for this. Anything less will be uncivilized. I think we just had a fantastic basketball debate.
Listen, we're gonna have to cut out some of this stuff because that was a great debate. That was like episode worthy by itself. That was pretty good. And I took a lot of shots at Norwood because he didn't answer my question. But you're a good sport. Normally we spiral and you'll like shoot back, but we didn't. I'm not in spiral on that.
Because I can't shoot back because you still will never give me how good you think Donovan Mitchell is. I've
answered the question. We've had this back. You're lying.
Oh,
okay. So I'll go back and I'll get the real about, because we talked about it when Trey got disrespected. And they said there's 10 guards better than Trey in the East. And we said, wow, that's crazy. And we went through it and you said, where would you rank him? And I said, we went through it. And at the time, again, another take, y'all said Halliburton was better. And we were like, at the time, where would you rank Trey? Donovan Mitchell was like number 3 on that list. Donovan Mitchell was like 3 on that list. And then you said, I don't know if I agree with that because you said he's a dime a dozen. And I said, that's where it came from. I said, whoa, that's disrespectful.
So after his playoff, which, yeah, after this playoffs, your opinion of him has not changed at all.
He's not a dime a dozen.
Did your opinion of him change after the playoffs?
Not really, no.
Okay.
And he's not a dime a dozen. Is he a dime a dozen? Say it. I want to hear you. So he is. It took us 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 27 seconds for him to admit, to double down on his take that he backed off of before. There, look at Josh. Finally. This is real time.
I can't. No. Especially the way that
I'm gonna let y'all know though.
No.
This is gonna be a clip because he said Donovan Mitchell is a dime a dozen. I just want to make sure that everybody, for clarification, Norwood said Donovan Mitchell is a dime a dozen.
Do you still think that Donovan Mitchell is better than James Harden after what we saw from James Harden tonight and what we saw from Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs?
I just want to make sure we pivoted. So we pivoted.
We're moving the conversation forward.
You think he's a dime a dozen? Then fine. That's the end of the conversation. I disagree with you. I disagree with you. We ain't talking about rankings. You said he's dime a dozen. I don't think he's a dime a dozen. There we go. Josh, write this time down. 1 hour, 8 minutes.
The only person who will
seconds.
commit to a take and stick with it.
It took you an hour to commit to a take. What do you mean?
I was trying to get. You know what? I know that's my role.
Y'all hear that?
I get it.
Y'all hear that? That's Norwood. Challenge. Tap dance. Football. Let's get to football, man. We here at our football segment. There's only one thing to talk about football, and it's not the XFL. Shout out. It is very entertaining, though. I like the XFL. But the NFL has pretty much.
Not expected.
It is. We might have to start covering it in the summer. I ain't hating on it because you get football in the summer. But the draft happened. And leading up to the draft, as Falcons fans, we were trying to figure out who we were taking because Terry Fontenot pretty much addressed almost every position of need that the Falcons had in the offseason. And then the Falcons made a pick. And while that pick, some didn't like it, some hated it, we ain't even going to get there yet because that's not even the news that we going to start with. Your man. And I'm specifically starting with this because Josh is here. Lamar Jackson signs the highest becomes the highest paid player in NFL history with $260 million, 180 plus million, I think 185 guaranteed, to stay with the Baltimore Ravens after what seemed like an eternity of back and forth. A week after Jalen Hurts signed his 6-year $255, and I want to give you credit for a take you said that was pretty funny. I said, dang, Lamar needs to hire Jalen Hurts agent. And you said, no, he don't. He already hired her by her getting him signed. She works for him now, de facto. And it worked out. So Lamar, by Jalen Hurts signing, Lamar said, well, you got to start at that deal. Shout out to them, man. Shout out to Lamar. That's what I'll say. Take my shot too, bro.
If the only thing was to get your money, then congratulations. If you wanted to see a different offense and be surrounded by better players, then I think you lost.
How?
Well, your wide receiver number one is a guy who hasn't played a full season in 3 years.
OBJ, okay. That's one. So you think OBJ
Yes.
OBJ shouldn't be your wide receiver number one?
At this point, I haven't seen him. If I am a starting quarterback in the NFL, you cannot give me a guy. If I'm one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, you can't tell me as a player who's historically had to do more with less. And I've been telling you I need a receiver. And the one that you go get me, we haven't seen play 17 games in ages. No, you tricked me. Now, do I think the OBJ is a good football player? Sure. But I think his skill set and his injury history, is there a risk? Yes. Could he play all 17 games and legitimately be healthy? Then great. But if I'm a betting man and I'm betting with my season, I want somebody who's going to play 17 games. I think the OBJ is a complimentary player at this point until he proves otherwise.
So that's your only reason you think he failed? Well, not failed.
I think that the Zay Flowers pick was a good consolation pick, and it's really more dependent on how good he can be. You need him to be wide receiver one. That's what you really, ideally, that's what you really need. You need Zay Flowers to come out and be so good that he's a wide receiver.
So I think you missed the mark on a few things with that take. I think the Ravens are trying to build an offense similar to, I'm not going to say similar to the Chiefs in terms of scheme, but similar to the Chiefs in terms of who is your better personnel. Your better personnel or your go-to receiver is still going to be Mark Andrews, because Todd Monken, who was their new offensive coordinator that came from Georgia, specializes in taking advantage of multi-talented, multifaceted tight ends. They have Likely there, who is basically a receiver, and then they have Mark Andrews, who is I don't know where you rank him amongst tight ends, maybe number 2 or top 5 maybe. You have Mark Andrews there. You
don't think he's better than Kelsey.
I said number 2. I said top 5. Kelsey was the number 1.
You think he's better than Kittle?
I think it's changeable. I think he's top 5. I think you could make an argument for both. Kittle is a better all-around tight end. Mark Andrews is a better receiver, better offensive threat.
Next year, would you rather have Kyle Pitts or Mark Andrews?
I don't know. Kyle Pitts got hurt last year.
Mark Andrews did too.
Did he?
I know he's on my fantasy team. Yes.
When did he get hurt? Because I saw him play against the Bengals at the end of the season. He played.
He was hurt.
I don't know, man. I can't definitively say I would take Kyle Pitts over Mark Andrews. I don't know.
But you definitively wouldn't say the other way either.
Right.
Okay. So he's right around 5-ish.
Well, I mean, that would make him 3, right? What we just said.
No, I think the Kelsey number 1. I think Kittle number 2. I think Kyle Pitts number 3.
I can't argue with you on that. He's healthy. He's good. He just ain't had no quarterback.
Yeah, that's the other part. He needs to be. Kyle Pitts has done a lot with love Matt Ryan to death, but Matt Ryan, and then Marcus Scariota.
So, but getting back to this, you said by him getting his money, he accomplished his goal. By him getting a team that's around him, he didn't.
No,
drafting
I
Zay
honestly
Flowers.
think that him and the Jets missed the boat.
It's just stupid. But Zay Flowers was arguably voted as the best receiver in the draft. It was between him and Quentin Johnston. Now, this draft, admittingly, had more players but less talent. What does that mean? The talent was, I won't say less talent, it was more spread out. There wasn't really it wasn't a top-heavy draft at all. It was Jalen Carter and everybody else, right? So I think Lamar, by getting Todd Monken, who I think they specifically hired to take advantage of the pieces that they have versus putting in an entire new complicated offense and having to retool, I think Todd Monken will be able to take advantage of the 2 tight ends that they have, plus a running quarterback who is substantially better than Stetson Bennett. Then you have wide receivers, OBJ, basically. I mean, Georgia won with Lad McConkey, who you hated. A.D. Mitchell played 2 games and then transferred, but the 2 games he played, he caught great passes. And Kearis Jackson, who just went undrafted. Like, so Todd Monken got the best out of the receivers who really weren't that talented outside of A.D. Mitchell, who left. Same thing here. You're playing
You're missing a world beater, a defense where everybody got drafted. The whole defense.
Josh, you say don't forget about Bateman. I'm not talking about Bateman yet. I expect him to be traded only because he came out and was like talking so much shit about the Ravens front office and offensive. He just was going off. I don't know if he'll be traded for sure, but
what is there to man Bateman?
But Lamar,
wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 3.
I think Lamar, he did request OBJ. I think that's why OBJ signed. I mean, it was obvious. I think Lamar's offensive weapons have gotten better because they they added versus adding and losing. They didn't lose anybody. So
honestly,
I think
he would have been better off trying to get to the Saints than staying over there.
I don't think so. Because if you remember, before he got hurt, they were like leading the division. If I'm not mistaken.
Wait. The Saints have Olave.
What I'm saying is in Baltimore, in that division, before he got hurt, with the lack of weapons we talking about, they were number 1 in the division. Then he got hurt, and they still almost made the playoffs, right?
I also think that, and I may be assuming, I assume that he wanted better offensive players around him so he could do less running so he could extend his career.
I think
if he wants to do the
same
amount of running as he's been doing,
I don't think Todd Monken will have that where Lamar's doing that much running. I think I don't think you pay somebody $260 million and they don't have, and I don't think you pay somebody $260 million and they don't have an input or a thought. You don't ask their thoughts on Todd Monken being hired. I think Todd Monken was hired by them with his approval. I think that was step 1 of getting him to resign. Personally. But
it's gonna be interesting. I'm not the biggest Todd Monken fan. I think that he won more with just having substantially better players than actually being an offensive wizard.
I mean, I think Georgia has always, you say it, Georgia has always had substantially better players than a lot of people. They underachieve. I think.
But no, this last 2 years of defense is different. And if anybody can tell you when shit is a little different, I told you that last year. I said this defense this is the first time in a long time I've legitimately been like, okay, these motherfuckers are scary. Even when y'all had a better team than us, I was like, okay, whatever. These last 2 years,
3.
I don't know where they finding them.
3 years.
But they are getting them.
3 years. Yeah, he was with Tampa Bay. Lamar, I will say 6 years. Oh, this is why I really want to talk about this, because I wanted to address Josh. Josh and the Ravens fans like him have been coming for the Splashcast Atlanta Falcons fans next, because we keep saying that it was collusion. They didn't want to pay Lamar. The league didn't want to pay Lamar. They refused. Blase. He was like, the Falcons are there with him. The Falcons going to be on the stand number 2. Dog, the whole league was colluding against Lamar. Y'all were just front and center. So you keep trying to point out the Falcons, shows me you're hurt. Number 2, if you think that the Ravens plan the entire time was to wait for Jalen to sign and then sign Lamar to $260 million, you are out of your mind. The Ravens lost this. They played chicken and got beat. You decided to not sign Lamar. You decided to not give him or entertain what he wanted at first. You decided to lowball him with 3 years, $133 million. You decided to do that. So when you decide to do that and lose, you end up having to pay $260 million, potentially $186.5 guaranteed. You have to do that. You lost. And at the end of the day, both of y'all realize y'all both need each other. And at the end of the day, Lamar got bigger loonies than y'all do. It is what it is.
Loonies. I mean, I wish y'all the best of luck. I can say that I don't
guarantee
see
money
it
wasn't there, Josh. I don't care about that $250. The guarantee money wasn't there. That was the discrepancy.
I don't see.
Don't nobody care about that. Throw them random ass numbers.
I don't love this yet, and I can be wrong, but it looks a little off to me.
What I'm saying
I will be
is
tight about Odell. I'll be super tight about Odell, to be honest. Don't send me a rookie in Odell, bro, and tell me to try to make that happen. I don't know how good this kid is. And I don't know if Odell gonna play the whole season. You better go get me a real player, bro.
So Lamar is now being paid like Patrick Mahomes, right? At this point, Patrick Mahomes got $40 million.
Yeah.
With Lamar,
they will have to get Hopkins before I would trust it.
What I'm saying is, to me, they're looking at Lamar. Who was the Chiefs starting receivers outside of Kelsey? And I ain't gonna say it because he's a tight end. Who are the Chiefs starting receivers?
Juju, Miko. Yeah, but
so what I'm saying is, what my point is, what I'm saying is, they're paying him to do what Patrick Mahomes is doing. That's what I think. That's what they're paying him for. They expect him to win a Super Bowl.
Hold on, wait. Patrick Mahomes, we already believe a Hall of Famer today.
Yeah.
He also has the luxury of Andy Reid.
Oh, Andy Reid, yeah. Well, that's what Todd Monken comes in. They had to get rid of their offensive coordinator. They had to. He was awful.
But you got to go get me Andy Reid. Do you believe Monken is that good?
I mean, we'll find out. As of now, he hasn't proven to be that good, no. Andy Reid, I mean, Andy Reid's Andy Reid. But again, contrary to that is, Andy Reid wasn't proven to be that good until he got to Patrick Mahomes. He was good. He was respected. He was a good offensive coordinator. No. Listen. Andy Reid but he went to rarefied air. Andy Reid was here. with the Eagles, right? He was here. Once he got with Patrick Mahomes and won them championships, he's now here in terms of everything he's doing.
But your right hand, the lower hand, who are the people who you think are on the lower hand where he was at?
Mike Holmgren. Steve Mariucci, the offense coordinator? I don't think.
Man, hell no. Steve Mariucci. And
he wasn't he was more of a CEO coach.
Yeah. That lower hand, I know that you got one hand here and one hand here. This hand here is with the absolute best in the world.
Yeah.
This is absolute best. Like, this is still better. This is the top of actors. The people up here are your
I ain't gonna say Rushmore, there's too many.
No. Your boy who at San Francisco.
Bill Walsh, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan. Really Mike Shanahan. Bill Walsh, Mike Shanahan, Andy Reid.
Kyle Shanahan. I put Kyle Shanahan in that conversation.
I think Andy Reid is more innovative. I think his offense and the scheme concepts that he came up put him in the Bill Walsh era. For example, I'll give you an example. He ran a screen that was like 30 yards down the field. One of the best plays I've ever seen. Put Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill on the left and put 3 receivers on the right, and they run crosses and they just dump it off real fast, and those 3 receivers are doing nothing but blocking. But it's a screen, but the way it's designed, it's a screen that happens 15 to 20 yards down the field.
It's really more of a wedge. That's what it's a wedge, just down the field type of thing.
So I think that's stuff like that is innovative. You know who else I think could be if he were to win? This is where I think Andy Reid was before he got to Patrick Mahomes. And this is where I think this person can get to if he wins a championship as a head coach. Josh McDaniels with New England was seen as an innovative coach. He was the one that would line a receiver up on the field, on the line, and then have them run backwards because they were ineligible. But the defense had to account for that receiver in that moment. They would line up real fast. He would put you as an ineligible receiver and make them run backwards. But that would create a gap for Gronk or whatever receiver at the time. And then he became a head coach and he's shit. But as an offensive innovator, he's good. Sean Payton, good job. Sean Payton's another one. Sean Payton was a good offensive coordinator to guy with Drew Brees. Now Drew Brees and him became one of the best offensive coordinators, and he won a championship. Josh McDaniels has to do the same thing. Andy Reid ended up winning a championship because he got with Patrick Mahomes, and the innovation met with the talent. Same thing. Todd Monken has to do the same thing with Baltimore.
Not pre-Patrick Mahomes, Eagles, Andy Reid. Who do you think are the guys in the NFL right now who are that good?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know all of the offensive coordinators. I don't know all the offensive coordinators.
McVay, Shanahan.
Yeah. Well, if McVay won the championship though, but
yes, but I'm still saying it's around the same level. Like, I think that Sean McVay is about as good as Andy Reid was with the Eagles. I think that I put Kyle Shanahan in that conversation. I would say Kyle Shanahan, because he's never won a championship. I think Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid are. If Kyle Shanahan wins a championship, he will enter that rarefied era. You'd be like, damn, dog. Like, oh yeah. But even so, I think like before Andy Reid won that championship, he was still regarded by most people as an elite, as a really good
offensive football mind.
I think that Mike McDaniel has an opportunity to get there.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's what I'm saying, Todd. That's what they view Todd Monken to be. They view Todd Monken to go and pair with his scheme, and the style that he coaches will pair well with Lamar's talent, and they're banking that will be the missing piece. And because their offensive coordinator, I forgot his name, but he was shit. He was ass. He was awful. He was terrible.
The thing about Eric Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich is they had generational talents. They're gonna have to go somewhere else and do it without it. Let's end the podcast. Josh is drunk. Talking about some damn Greg Roman.
Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator for the Ravens before.
I know.
And I'm saying you had to get rid of the offensive coordinator, and he said get rid of Greg. I didn't know his name. He was saying his name was Greg Roman. He's not saying Leftwich.
Got you. That's why I was like, oh, it must be dope. It's got to be dope. If you think
No.
Eric Bieniemy will get his chance in Washington, even though I don't really like that chance. Byron Leftwich going to have to go somewhere else and show that he can do it without Tom Brady.
So the reason I agree that Eric Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich aren't on that list. I don't agree is because
could be.
I think
we don't know yet.
I think they're on that list not because they had generational talents. I mean, Andy Reid had 2 generational talents. He had Donovan McNabb. I wouldn't say generation. He had 2 All-Pros, Donovan McNabb and Michael Jordan and Cleats. Those are the 2 quarterbacks that he's coached, right? And Alex Smith.
But then, I mean, Donovan McNabb.
But wait. What I'm saying is, he was the offensive coordinator. I don't think Eric Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich are being penalized for coaching Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. I think they're being penalized for coaching under Andy Reid and what's the other dude? That's now the VP. He was an old guy, cool cat daddy coach.
With the hat on. I know you're talking about. I can see it.
Byron Leftwich had to coach under him. I think that's more of an indictment versus having the players.
They have incompletes right now. They're gonna get another chance. I assume that somebody's gonna hire Byron Leftwich. I think he's going.
Phoenix.
He's gonna get another OC job.
No, I'm talking about Phoenix lost. They're losing.
Oh. I think that Leftwich gets another OC job. I think that Bieniemy in Washington is a bad deal because that's a terrible place to be.
Yeah.
I don't think that anything he does there, if they are complete failures, I can't blame him for it.
Yeah.
And who's their quarterback?
Who? Washington?
Yeah.
A loss. Sam Howell. They missed the boat on Lamar. That's who they missed the boat on. They should have got Lamar. That's who I didn't understand that. If you're trying to make a splash with new ownership.
As much as I don't love Terry McLaurin, I think that Terry McLaurin
is better than what they got on Baltimore. Shit.
He's just I think that he's gonna be healthier than OBJ.
I think I ain't gonna say if health comes into it right now, Terry McLaurin would be the number 1 receiver on the Ravens right now. Pretty easily. So shout out to Lamar. Shout out to Lamar. We are happy you got your money. As I said before, what'd you say the name of this? Great Expectations? The expectations are on you now because the Ravens are viewing as we paid you. We got Greg Roman out of there. We brought in OBJ. We drafted a wide receiver. We have tight ends. It's now on you. There are no more excuses. I think that's how the Ravens are looking at it.
AFC Championship or bust, right?
I think win the division. You got to win the division because the Bengals are there. The Bengals made it to the Super Bowl in the AFC Championship game. This is the AFC Championship. Right now, this is the Bengals division. So at first you have to beat the Bengals. If you don't win the division, then yes, AFC Championship. Oh, Josh said no. Okay. AFC Championship.
That's what I thought too.
Hey, I like it. I like it. I was gonna shoot him a little bit more bail because of the Bengals. The Bengals are. I mean, the Bengals got.
You're
better
the highest paid player in the NFL, bro.
I agree. That's how they looking at it. I agree.
But
I would have shot him a little bit more bail.
That expectation is the same expectation for about half of really everybody. The Jets got to be AFC Championship or bust. The
Bills,
Chiefs got to be AFC Super Bowl or bust.
The Bills.
The Bills have to be Super Bowl or bust.
Dolphins have to be
Chargers
AFC Championship.
Have to be Super Bowl or bust.
The Chargers are not. The Chargers have to win a championship game. I mean, not champion. Chargers have to win a playoff game.
Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Jets,
Dolphins. You paid a lot of money for them. You paid a lot of money for that team. Paid a lot of money.
You don't even know if your quarterback is. You expect Tua to be AFC champion? You got to get him through a season first.
Hey, yeah, I'm telling you, you paid a lot of money. In Tyreek, the highest paid wide receiver in the league.
Oh damn, Phoenix is over.
You don't make Tyreek the highest paid wide receiver in the league. Oh, Devin Booker and Bruce Brown about to fight. You don't make Tyreek the highest paid receiver in the league and pair him with Jalen Waddle and all these others to not expect to go to the AFC Championship game. Or at least
You don't even have a.
y'all decided to ride with Tua. Ooh, Josh said Dolphins will make the playoffs. Tyreek got to go.
Yeah,
You can't do that not to make the playoffs.
I mean, that's where Lamar should have really been trying to get his ass down there too. Is Miami.
Miami ain't had no draft picks to trade because of that tampering with Tom Brady. They ain't had no first or second round.
Shouldn't have been doing that neither, cheating ass.
So let's get to the
All right,
draft,
but
man.
yes.
Let's get to the draft. As I said before, Jalen Carter is regarded. Shout out to Georgia. Jalen Carter is viewed as the number one draft prospect in this draft. And if you want to be honest, it really wasn't close. The quarterbacks went 1, 2, and 4, but they only went 1, 2, and 4 because they're quarterbacks. If they were any
utility.
other decision, if it was any other position, they wouldn't have gone 1, 2, and 4. The Falcons, by power rankings, drafted the number 2 power ranking player in Bijan Robinson. So we now have a core of Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and I don't like how they took Algier out of this picture, but Algier as well. What's wild is I think they put Bijan Robinson's face on Algier's body because I think Algier is number 25, which is even more disrespectful. Now that this is real time, I'm realizing that. So you have Algier, you have a young receiver, and then you still got Cordero. I didn't really like this pick, but I'm not gonna say the more
25.
I think about it.
Wow.
The more I think about it, the more I think that this isn't as disrespectful as I thought. But I'll tell why. Tell me why. Do you like this pick? Or actually, I know you don't because you pissed me off. Why don't you like this pick?
I've come to grips with it. I do think that this core right here, their main job, along with a very tough offensive line, is protect the quarterback. And if that's what you're doing, I understand. That makes more sense. You have Kyle Pitts, who we believe is a top 5 tight end. We have Drake London, who we believe could have been and should have been a Rookie of the Year candidate if he probably had a better quarterback. You have Bijan Robinson, who, whatever it comes down to, if you're looking at this draft on just talent, not position utility, then he's a top 5, top 7 pick. They believe him to be that good. And the more that I've looked at things, they believe him to be right there at the generational talent level. If you believe that he's going to be that good, and let's be honest, me and you watched him play all season. We talked about how good he was all season at Texas. If he can be that good, then it's more position utility than picking Jalen Carter.
So
the only reason that we really would not pick this guy is just because he's a running back.
Hindsight is 20/20. If you look at all of the signings that the Falcons did, Calais Campbell, Daniel Onyemata, they signed another defensive tackle. You sign all of these players in the D-line. You address safety. You address the secondary. You sign a linebacker. You sign basically everything on defense. You signed. You traded for Jeff Okudah. Like you've made moves. You signed Mike Hughes. You've made moves to address almost every hole on defense. Hindsight, you can tell that they were going to use off the draft to go for offense. You didn't really sign any noteworthy players on offense. You signed the dude from the Raiders, Jonnu Smith.
Mac Hollins.
Yeah, Mac Hollins, Jonnu Smith.
And even that cornerback pick, and he's undersized, sure, and his 40 speed may not be sexy. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves that dude. Everything that I picked,
He was Pac-12 player.
everything that I've seen, They're
Even
like,
Claudio.
oh, he was our best value pick, not the best pick that we had. That'd be Bijan. But getting Clark where we got him, he had 6 interceptions last season. They believe him to be a ball
Three
hawk,
of them, I think
nickel
three of them
corner.
went for pick sixes.
Yeah, nickel corner. They believe him to be in there to make plays on the ball.
The thing about the
can't-
Bijan pick is Terry Fontenot came from the Saints. We are building the Atlanta Saints. Bijan Robinson is Alvin Kamara. Tyler Algier is
Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram is Mark Ingram. Who is that supposed to be? Drake London is Michael Thomas. Kyle Pitts is your other receiver. I don't know what you put him as because they didn't really have that over there. But in your spread offense, Kyle Pitts is your other receiver. This is them building the Saints / the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
It's the same thing on offense. Tennessee Titans, 2 wide receivers, a big receiver, and 2 running backs that can run. It's the same thing. And Arthur Smith, I think Delaney Walker, and who was the other tight end?
Can't think his name, but I know you're talking about.
But they had career years. Jonnu Smith was there too. They had career years. So we take advantage of tight ends, we run the ball, and we have big receivers. I can see why we drafted Bijan. I can see why we drafted a mean, run blocking, aggressive guard in the second round. I can see why on defense, with our defensive line coach, the former Saints defensive line coach is now our defensive coordinator, we drafted Zach Harrison, who's 6'6", 275 pounds. Both of these coaches' philosophy is in the trenches, we are going to be big. And we are going to be tough, and we are going to be mean.
And we're going to have a full rotation of guys. It ain't no these guys play and these guys are backups. Rotate. And we're going to do that. I see this for 2 reasons. You get to protect Desmond Ridder you're insulating him in every way. You got a defensive line who can control the line of scrimmage. You have young corners who are going to play aggressive and hopefully get some turnovers. You have a mean, nasty offensive line who is willing to get physical. You have 2 running backs, really 3 running backs. You can go back to back to back. You have big receivers, so he doesn't have to be super accurate. It's a big Desmond Ridder insurance policy.
Mm-hmm. This takes the onus off Desmond Ridder. You just gotta not turn the ball over, and I think they're trying to scheme their way to a championship by everybody else. It's the Georgia approach.
You did in college. Make smart, open throws. We're not asking you to be a world beater. We're not asking you to be the absolute best quarterback. I told you, I think he's great value Dak. We're going to put guys around him.
Great value Dak is just not what I want to hear.
Nah, I mean, if you could get Dak in the 3rd round for trading for Matt Ryan, if you can get your next quarterback in that situation, then you're fine. And you probably wouldn't even have to pay him that much.
Yeah, you're right. But the Falcons, man,
it's like if the Cowboys could keep Dak and they would have paid him properly.
What you mean? I don't
if they had just paid him early.
Oh, like the Ravens? Yeah. Will work. So I'm excited about the Falcons. I mean, everybody talked about this Bijan Robinson pick. Even the people that said they wouldn't have made that pick are like, but I understand. Like, there's never that's a terrible pick. Yeah, but Bijan Robinson is still Bijan Robinson. So I get it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works out. Listen, Terry.
And the other part is, you no matter what Philly did, you were going to kind of be damned. If you pick Jalen Carter and they got Bijan
Robinson, yep.
That is the one piece that they needed. And they ended up getting Swift from the Lions, which I think was a pivot. I think they had going into their head that they were gonna get Bijan.
Oh, that was the next thing. You had this pick doesn't look as bad because, like you said, Philly made a pivot because they went and got Swift. They were going to get Bijan. They assumed that Jalen Carter was going to be gone. But I also, looking at the Detroit Lions pick Jahmyr Gibbs at 12, tells me that they thought, because they traded back, remember? They thought Bijan was going to fall. And they thought that they were going to get Bijan at 12. And when they didn't, they pivoted to Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs, I don't think he was their number one pick at running back. So that gave me a little bit of comfort. But let's move on because we could sit here and talk forever. We said earlier in the pregame, go back and listen to the pregame, our splashes of the week.
Always wait. Remember, like, follow, subscribe. Thank you guys for still rocking with us. This has been a journey tonight.
It has been fun though. 3 black quarterbacks go in the top 5 picks of the NFL draft. I made a joke earlier because I was listening to Bomani Jones on The Right Time and Dominique Foxworth. They said this. They basically said what I was thinking. If you believe in the good old boy network, then you know that there's some rule changes about to happen. They ain't going to let this happen to where Will Levis, the only other quarterback in the draft, fall all the way to the second round. If you believe in tinfoil fitted hats. Why do I say that? We've seen this before. Black quarterbacks started doing too much. Folks started getting too athletic. White quarterbacks couldn't keep up. What they do? Can't hit the quarterback no more. Can't hit him. You can only hit the quarterback right here. Now, only in the sternum. And they changed the rules because running quarterbacks were coming out. And Peyton Manning got his jaw broke. Tom Brady got his ACL tore. Drew Brees said he got hit too hard in the playoffs. He just said it's a penalty because I got hit too hard. When that happens, when there's a pivot from the majority and stuff starts to change, rules start to change to keep it even for the majority. And I think eventually that's going to happen here.
Unfortunately, and like I said earlier, I think there's a specific reason they have not let athletes play quarterback. And you gotta think 15 years ago, all of these guys are receivers.
Mm-hmm. Tight ends, receivers, running backs. Yeah.
I think you're too far in, and it's so many teams with black quarterbacks now. You trying to protect white quarterbacks is not, I think, for at least probably almost half the league, that's not in your best interest.
Well, they've tried to protect white quarterbacks, and I'll even challenge you on that. They didn't have a choice anymore. You can't have a statuesque quarterback back there anymore. The athletes are too good. The power forwards
the defensive end, that
right now, right now, a defensive end, Calais Campbell is 6'8". That used to be an anomaly to have a 6 foot. We saw 3 defensive ends go this weekend. That was 6'7", 6'6.5", 6'7". So the athletes, the athletes, the white DB, the athletes on defense forced the evolution of the athlete on defense forces you to have to get a mobile quarterback. It's impossible. You can't get a quarterback that's just the statue to stand back there. Can't work anymore.
The Ben Roethlisberger days are over with, bro. They'll knock your face off you back there.
You can play. If you won't play 15 years, you're going to play 4. Because they going to kill you out there. Dog, no, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
I am happy to see my boy get drafted top 5.
Number 4. Shout out to Anthony Richardson. I'm happy he didn't go number 1. And I am happy for the black quarterback that he went to probably the best situation out of the 3, in my opinion. Maybe 2, because Carolina does have a defense. But Indianapolis has a running game. That's the part.
I don't think he starts the season there. I think they're going to start with Gardner.
Even better situation, because I don't think he should start. So I think, and what's funny, and I didn't want to make this joke, it's racy now. I done made it racy, so I'm here. There is a picture of the Indianapolis Colts war room for the draft. And if you looked at that picture, You would have thought ain't no way in hell they drafted Anthony Richardson. It was lily white in there. There was not a black person in sight. Not one. Not mixed. Not nothing. It was all Lily. So I was like, Will Levis is their guy. I know it. And then they drafted Anthony Richardson. And I said, oh, so that's 3 of the QB needy teams that are off the board. And everybody else wasn't talking about Will. So what happened with Will? He ended up having to stay back there in the in the room.
Purgatory.
Ooh. And what do we always call this? A villain origin story. Will Levis was basically tooting his own horn, saying, and what you're supposed to do. He was selling himself. I got a cannon for an arm. I'm the best quarterback. You can't wait to see me. Blah, 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 blah. And they invited him. And to be fair, the NFL invites all players that they think are going to be a first-round draft pick. They invited him. He didn't make it. He said, last month he said, I'll be a pretty high pick. He said, if I could go in the second-round pick, I don't want to have the camera on you all day. You spoke that into existence, brother. Death and life being the power of the tongue. You have to make sure that you put positive energy out there. Because he definitely was there and fell all the way to the second round, where Tennessee ended up trading up to get him. And shout out to the Falcons for not doing something stupid. Because there were rumors.
And I hate to say it, it's not a good situation to be in.
Tennessee? Well, he's probably, he'll have a chance to start. You either start Tannehill, Malik Willis, or him. Yeah, I think that's an open competition.
The quarterback position is only, first of all, they're in the AFC with all the rest of quarterbacks. Yeah, doesn't matter.
What is it? Failure? I don't know.
No, but it's just not a problem. I don't think in the next 2 or 3 years Tennessee is going to be anything to write home about. Nah,
especially with Derrick Henry aging, and they're refusing to get any other. I mean, they addressed the receivers last year, but nobody was a.
They didn't hit.
World beater. It's hard to say they didn't hit after one season, but still. And you also had Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill. So.
And now you got Will Levis. You got 3 pieces of junk back there. What you talking?
But I will say Tennessee, by drafting him in the second round, doesn't have to give him a fifth-round option, fifth year option. So that works out for them. I don't know.
That is a team consistent on making poor decisions. I assume that the best asset that you have will be on the team maybe through the rest of this season. After that, it's over. Then you're starting this team over, because without Derrick Henry, you don't have an identity.
Maybe they're planning to start this team over next year. But they traded up to get him. That's the only part I didn't understand. Like, I don't think any of the teams in the second round were really going to pick him. The ones that were at the top of the round. I think the Steelers are in on Kenny Pickett. Houston had already they traded theirs to the Cardinals. The Cardinals have Kyler Murray and they paid him. So I don't think that anybody was really going to trade up to draft him per se. Interestingly enough, other quarterbacks.
That's their problem, not mine.
Other quarterbacks. I
got me a little piece of quarterback
that caught me off guard was Hendon Hooker in the third to Detroit, knowing that they have Jared Goff and he's only 2 years younger than Jared Goff. And
it's insurance policy. It's an insurance policy just in case. It's actually a good safe pick to me, because just in case Jared Goff tricked you, you can just move to Hendon Hooker. You don't have to pay Jared Goff.
And then Stetson Bennett in the fourth to the Rams. That caught me all the way off guard.
Terrible.
They were talking about he wasn't going to get picked. I think Matthew Stafford did him a solid. They expect for him to come in and basically win the number 2 job. Where is Baker Mayfield, by the way?
Tampa, starting quarterback in Tampa.
Oh, yeah, Tampa. I would have rather see Stetson go to Tampa and be behind Baker Mayfield. At least they're the same height. Like, the Rams ain't gonna be good anyway. They done slewed themselves. So, got that ring though. Bill Belichick, he has been known to make picks without really revealing his strategy, and it's normally a surprise. Case in point, he drafted a punter and a kicker, and he traded up to draft a kicker in the 4th round. Don't get it. Last year, he drafted a guy.
He also
in the 1st
hasn't
round.
drafted well in a ton of Sundays. People just, he's so accomplished at this point, people just are now not paying attention to him not doing anything.
So Gronk released a little video of him talking about Bill Belichick when he drafted Gronk and how kind of a shot in the dark it was for them. Is he gonna play?
He came up on his pre-draft visit, had a bad visit. We put him in a room, came back, he was asleep on the floor. Didn't make a very good impression.
And I didn't know one single thing. My mind was shut off, and I was just like, I basically said something like, it doesn't matter, just throw me the football. Yeah, it's just like that. And they're just mind blown. They're like, this guy is out of hand. Then I go upstairs, pass right out, right on the floor. I'm so tired, pass right out on the floor. I walked out, and I said to myself, that team is either going to draft me or that team is either crossing me off the list.
The New England Patriots select Rob Gronkowski.
God, dog.
2010, and everything else is history. You don't realize Rob Gronkowski's 34 years old. Wow. That's crazy. And that is par for the course with Rob Gronkowski. Par for the course.
And I mean, I hate to bring this guy up, but Aaron Hernandez too, man. They had Hernandez held it together. They would have even been better. That's the unfair part.
Yep. Unfortunately, things didn't work out that way. So let's get back to the Eagles, though. So the Eagles, well, let's talk about Georgia first. Then we'll talk about the Eagles.
Same thing.
That 2020 defense had all 11 players are drafted. Every single one. So here's the front 7. Trayvon, that 2020 defense, or sorry, 2021 defense that won the national championship. Trayvon Walker, Jordan Davis, Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, Nolan Smith, Lewis Seen, Nakobe Dean, Keely Ringo, Chris Smith, Robert Beal, Darion Kendrick, Jalen Carter, Channing Tindall. Yes, I want you to understand that is more than 11 names. That's 15 names. All of them were drafted. All except for Chris Smith, Darion Kendrick, and Keely Ringo were drafted in the first 3 rounds. I can't believe Keely Ringo slipped. If you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, the 5 best on the list, in my opinion, are now in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Bulldogs, I mean, the Georgia Eagles, I mean, I don't know what you want to call it.
We get it. Oh, my God. I'm so frustrated because we could have stopped some of that. If we pick Jalen Carter, I don't think they go Bulldog crazy. I think once they got Jalen Carter, they're like, oh, let's just double down on this now. And it is what it is. I said from day one, this defense is scary. I had every right to be afraid of this defense. It proved to me what I already believed. Everything that I believed was a fact. And I hate that for me. I hate it even more for my team.
Confession. I knew we were going to win the championship when you stopped talking shit. At the beginning of the 2021 season, 2020, you was talking big shit. You blew it to Alabama. Y'all lost. Blah, 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 blah. 2021, you were mute. Mute. It was like, we need one of them. Bro. That's all you said all 22. We need one of them. That's all you said. I was like, ooh, they might be pretty good. Norwood ain't got nothing bad to say. Nothing.
I have my opinions, but I ain't a fool either. And I'm looking at them like they're all fucking monsters. And it's monster after monster. Like even Alabama, they had good defense. You look at a guy like Will Anderson. Like, sure, he's good, but everybody on that defense wasn't good enough. That's the reason you could still kind of double him. This, You can't do nothing but call God, man.
Shout out to Michigan. Y'all got massacred that game. And TCU.
Jesus.
So it's crazy, man. I can't believe that Nolan Smith dropped to 30. Yes, it was because of the pec injury where he tore his pectoral muscle in like week 7. But y'all stupid because he came to, and I'm saying y'all too, Falcons. He came to the combine and said he wasn't running his fastest and ran a 4.3 at linebacker / defensive end. Jalen, like, the Eagles, yes, they drafted a lot of the Georgia players, but all them Georgia players were like all Americans. Keely Ringo is gonna be
No. They didn't draft a bunch of Georgia players. They drafted the best fucking players in the world. That's what they did. They just happen to all play on the same team.
Keely Ringo may end up. Jalen Carter to me is the best situation because of everything he's going to. And Jalen, I don't know if you're gonna see this. Anybody that sees this, tag is to him. I know you've been through a lot, big dog. At the end of the day, I just want to make sure somebody asks, "Are you okay, man?" Everybody's been coming down on you about the whole situation that happened after their whole situation. At the end of the day, you lost a best friend, a good friend. You lost another friend, and 2 people were hurt in a situation that was not malicious, malintent. It was just poor decision. And nobody has asked other than a few podcasts, I think Bomani being one, as well as one of the other football podcasts I listen to, said, "Hey, man, are you okay? Just are you okay, big dog?" We saw the anxiousness and anxiety leave your body once you got picked. We saw it through tears. If anybody else don't ask you, we going to ask you, bro. Make sure that you're good. And I think Philadelphia was the best possible place. You're with people that you're familiar with, and you have good mentorship. I think.
And you got a bunch. You got your homeboys there. You have a damn good team already, and you have a bunch of guys at your position, so you can get acclimated. You don't have to come in and just be a world beater all day. You can find your footing, and you can get some game from some of the best players. And congratulations again, man.
Congratulations.
Wish you would have been a Falcon.
Ah, damn. Ooh, him and Grady would have been stupid. Childhood friends, though. We talked about the quarterbacks. Oh, man, we'll reload. Childhood friends, Bryce Young and CJ got drafted at the same time, 1 and 2. They are both from California. Shout out to Cali. Been playing football against each other all their life, and they both go 1 and 2. This is CJ getting excited. I'm sorry, this is Bryce getting excited for CJ getting drafted. Shout out to CJ, man.
Yeah. Shout out to, number one, just being happy that your man got drafted. Congratulations on you getting drafted. And yeah, there's a new dawn. There's a new age when it comes to quarterbacks. Don't look like your old quarterbacks. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It is a new day, man. Let's keep it with Alabama real quick. Shout out to John Mechie. Returned to the field for the Texans offseason workouts after missing his rookie season as he had a malignant bump that ended up being testing positive for leukemia, meaning it could turn into leukemia. So he had to sit out. He had to take therapy treatment to get rid of it, and now he is back and will be ready to go for the 2023 season. And John Mechie, I know he's excited. I'm sorry, CJ Stroud, I know he's excited to see that. So shout out to him, man. I'm happy for that. Can you hear me? No?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm ready to see him on the field. He got robbed from last season. I know he'll be grateful and excited to play football. So
definitely
those guys typically go out there with a whole different, outlet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
And that kind of helps the Texans. It's kind of like you got a first-round draft pick again.
Yeah, you did. Hey, man. Y'all don't kill me for this take. But shout out to the Cowboys. Chris Vaughn is the lead scout for the Cowboys, and this is a moment where he got to tell his son, Deuce Vaughn, starting running back for Kansas State, that he's being drafted by the Cowboys.
Hey, it's going good. This is Dad. My phone wasn't working. Look at here, man. You want to come to work with me next week? I wouldn't mind that.
Watch here. And just went with what he knows he's going to be a great football player.
Oh, yeah.
There's his dad on the left. That's awesome.
Look at him.
Look how emotional he is.
That's amazing.
Can you imagine?
Hey, buddy.
That's crazy. You get to, and I didn't have the post, but they show pictures of him in the special, of him going to work with his dad, watching the Cowboys play, growing up there, and now he is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. That is awesome. Shout out to Deuce and Chris Vaughn.
This is the second time in this podcast that I've almost been reduced to tears. I was like, this one is heavy right here. I couldn't even imagine. This, especially as a scout, all I do is scout talent all day and all night. And I get a chance to draft my son.
And he probably scouted his son, but he had to be objective. So you how can you be objective with your own child and knowing he's good? Like, he's good. He was a starting running back. They won the Big 12. He's been the player there. He's been compared to the only one person that's his size is Darren Sproles.
And the thing, but his objectivity also maybe, I know he's better than where he's truly ranked.
Yeah, because he was drafted in the sixth round?
Maybe, hey, I know him. And then your dad is there. You're gonna get a different level of work ethic. There is a bar of expectation coming into it, but also,
and you can't embarrass your dad. They got a good one. This is a good situation.
And hey, I can get to the play. He probably been looking at the playbook, know the playbook.
Yeah, it's tough. So here's the joke. Y'all know Jerry was called wild racist all year from that photo that surfaced of him as a child badgering the civil rights activists. I guarantee, I ain't gonna say he thought about it, but I know afterwards he was like, I bet y'all ain't gonna call me racist now. Like, this is definitely like make you forget
you
all
think this came
about
from
that.
the Anthony Richardson media team?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it was the main reason, but I think it was one of them things that was in the hat. This is one of the positives.
If you did that, then you're smart. You're more aware than I will give you credit for.
You don't become a billionaire without not being aware.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Lamar Jackson was the big news. Aaron Rodgers was the news afterwards. Both of these moves, we expected something to happen before the draft because you can't have something happen after the draft. It makes no sense. So Aaron Rodgers is now a Jet. Packers did a pick swap. They also get a 6th round and a 2nd round that becomes a 1st round if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the plays, which we know he will. Unless the Jets.
This is a terrible deal for the Jets.
They gave up a lot for Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. They're going to get him for 2 years.
In the AFC where everybody has a good quarterback, bro, you should have went after Lamar. But
and the
Jets are going Jet, and I think Lamar.
Lamar. The Packers did not pick up the 5th-year option of Jordan Love, and they drafted a quarterback from Penn State in the third or 4th round. I don't know what the Packers are doing. So, I mean, I know what they're doing, but you got to play you got to figure out if you're going to pick up the option. They have until tomorrow, I believe, to pick up the 5th-year option for Jordan Love. But the thing is, you got to pay him $20 million. His cap, if you pick it up, is this year his hit is $2 million. If they pick up the 5th-year option, is $20 million. So, but
don't matter. Don't matter. You're not paying anybody else. They're not going to be like against the cap. You pick it up.
I say you pick it up because you can still negotiate an extension. If he's good, you can negotiate an extension. And you can say, okay, well, then we'll pay you $25 for the rest of it. $20 million would then be a discount. So,
or you get back into it next year and you draft another quarterback and you don't pay him anything.
Yeah. But The Jets. So the Jets believe that this. So here's another thing. This is synonymous to me with not synonymous. It's very similar. I ain't gonna say it's the same. It's very similar to the Phoenix Suns. If the Jets don't win a championship by making this move, I think that's a failure. I think that's a failure for the year. Even with Patrick, or at least I even shoot him some bail and say AFC Championship, because you got that man over there in Kansas City that is Michael Jordan in cleats. But you went all in on Aaron Rodgers. You don't get Aaron Rodgers and think you gonna not make it to the AFC Championship or Super Bowl.
I honestly don't agree with that. I'm gonna
$150
tell
million.
you why. What were the alternates? Who else could you get?
Lamar. Could have traded for Lamar.
Other than Lamar though, and you had Zach Wilson, who is hated. Like that's the other part. Your poor draft last year put you in a bad situation.
You could have gotten Jimmy Garoppolo. You could have gotten Derek Carr. If you didn't think that the quarterback was the missing link, you could have gotten a lot of different people. You, by making this move and going all in like this, you think that Aaron Rodgers is the one piece to get you over the top because of that defense, because of the running game. And they signed his best wide receivers, Allen Lazard and all that. You think that with that defense, that Aaron Rodgers and the pieces that you signed will get you to the Super Bowl. So yeah,
the other part,
they don't get it. It's failure.
The only part about Garoppolo and Derek Carr is I don't think that makes the team think you're serious.
Depending on what you do with the money.
If you go get Jimmy Garoppolo after we had Zach Wilson, I'm gonna look at you like you don't care about the quarterback position.
Yeah, but it also depends on what you could, because I mean Jimmy Garoppolo ain't $50 million a year. It's 30 or 20. I think he's getting paid less than dude from the Giants, Danny Dimes. So I mean you would still have enough money to go sign other pieces, or more money to sign other pieces, and probably have more draft capital because you gave up, even though you only moved down 2 picks, you still gave up a second round and a possible first round next year, and a 6th round.
But you can't get in there with Jimmy Garoppolo next to Mahomes and Allen. That ain't gonna get you there.
It ain't. Can't. The Raiders did. They in the same division as Mahomes.
The Raiders are stupid. Raiders are dumb as a box of rocks.
Hey man, so the Cardinals are in pure rebuilding mode, and nobody thinks it, and nobody's talked about it because we've had other stuff to talk about. But the Cardinals have traded down so much that they have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 11 picks next year in the draft. 11. So I can tell you already who they got 2 in the first round, 1 in the second round, 3 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, 1 in the seventh. Let me tell y'all what the first round pick gonna be. I can tell you what it's gonna be right now. I don't even know if they're gonna have a good year or not. I'm banking on them not having a good year. But even if they have a decent year, they got these first round picks, and I don't think the Texans are gonna be good. They are going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. That is going to be their pick next year. If he's not the number 1 overall, whatever picks they got enough picks to go get anybody they want. And they've already signed Kyler Murray to the money. You fired the coach that Kyler Murray didn't like. You signed somebody that's committed to Kyler Murray. You need a receiver. You have all these picks. They are going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brock Bowers.
I saw something
next year.
I saw them draft Caleb Williams. And Marvin Harrison.
I thought about that too. I don't think they draft Caleb Williams because you wouldn't be able to get rid of Kyler. Ain't nobody would take Kyler in that contract. Nope. The Jets? Nope. The Dolphins? Maybe. But with that contract, that's a crazy contract. He's got $180 million. Would you pay that? I don't know, and they're gonna want something. I don't know if I ain't willing to give you nothing.
49ers.
Can they take on that contract? 49ers got a lot of money allocated. The defense.
You have to clear out some space.
You got the highest paid linebacker in Fred Warner. You got a top-paid defensive lineman, Eric Armstead.
They got to pay receivers too. They got to pay
You
receivers
got Debo.
too.
You got to
But,
repay Debo in 2 years. You got a lot of stuff to do. Arizona's going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. next year, easily.
With that said, this has been another fantastic Monday Night Raw. The Chinese weather balloons are still hating. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us.
I need to make
I'm almost 100% sure that Reggie is going to chop this up into 2 episodes somehow. I believe that the basketball will probably come out by itself, but I will let him do that wizarding. With that said, there will be a Splashcast 36 pack that comes out this weekend. I mean, not this weekend. It'll come out Wednesday.
They call PJ Tucker cardio because he had 0 free throws, 0 3-point attempts, 0 shot attempts.
Hey, man.
37 minutes.
He wasn't the reason they lost, though.
Because they won.
Exactly. Could have been on the other teams, huh? Maybe you should have done a little bit more running, my friend. But with that said, it has been a fantastic episode. Number one, always, wait. Like, follow, subscribe, tell a friend about the podcast. Also visit, there you go, www.splashcast.com, where you can see me and Reggie. You can find all the episodes. You can also find all of the playlists, everything there in one central location. Thanks for the support. Please go to the website, check it out. Let us know your opinion. And of course, merch coming soon. Please join the email mailing list so we can let you know when we roll out new things. Number one, more black beaches and more black baseball. We ain't never getting rid of black beaches. Number 2,
Mocha Fest.
more black cowboys and cowgirls. Number 3, the historically black college university that your cousin went to, your mama went to, your auntie went to, that person that you was cool with at church. Send some money over there. The historically black college university in your neighborhood. The one that you go for homecoming, step shows, you go be around your people, send some money over there. And then, of course, the Hampton University, the blue and the white, the greatest learning institution in all the world. Send some money over there on behalf of the Splashcast. We'll be happy with $18.68 on behalf of the year that Hampton was founded. Outside of that, there's only one thing for me and Reggie to do. We're going to hang out.
I'm going to go to sleep.
And we look forward to seeing y'all again on Saturday with an update on playoff basketball. And shout out to James Harden for going nuclear today. Celtics, hey, y'all better stop playing.
Y'all better figure it out.